The United States is the most economically polarized among Western nations. Over the last 50 years, the gaps in wealth and income have progressively expanded, with no end in sight to these perilous trends. Today's books, You Can Help Yourself by John Risseeuw and Tipping Point by Art Hazelwood, take a deep look at this increasing inequality and its disastrous effects on social and environmental justice. John Risseeuw founded Cabbage Head Press in 1972. Across these 5 decades, Risseeuw's art has often touched on political and social themes, including corruption, equal rights, and environmental abuse. You Can Help Yourself was created in 2019 after a group study of privilege. Risseeuw explains that this exercise brought long-considered concerns to a place of necessary witness. In this book, Risseeuw presents a detailed and uncompromising examination of income inequality. The smallest type on these pages presents a carefully edited arc of information. We are shown, with examples, what income inequality really looks like. How large is the income gap? Who is the most negatively impacted? And just how misinformed are we? This fact offers a double gut punch. How severely white people underestimate the wealth gap between Black and white people in the US, and just how extreme that gap really is. Numbers float across the pages. These dollar amounts are various individuals' net worth, like this $143,700,000,000 of Jeff Bezos. The key to these figures is found at the end of the book. Here we can also find what the floating percentages indicate. For example, set against the $141,500,000,000 net worth of the Walton family, we see the poverty rates in the US for Native American, Hispanic, and African American populations. The many layers of information keep us actively moving around the book. I find this movement back and forth physically reinforces how interconnected all of this is. The wealth attained by the topmost elite, the 0.1%, comes off the backs of the bottom 90%. Risseeuw reminds us that this complexity and interconnectedness is not a product of nature. It has been squarely engineered by the corporations and individuals with the power and money to keep and even gain more of that power and money. We see this phrase, but don't take too much, repeated in large letters crossing multiple pages. This is taken from the song God Bless the Child by Billie Holiday. Risseeuw included the lyrics at the end of the book. He explained to me that this song impacted him for many years, and Holiday's plaintive verse helped him figure out how to work such an enormous and complex topic into an artist's book. I had noticed the images of bread across the book and sensed the symbol of politics and class. The cost and availability of bread has been a factor in revolutions and social uprisings throughout history. The bread, too, comes from the song. Risseeuw had always found the line, "Rich relations give a crust of bread and such," to be a potent image of powerlessness. Risseeuw has condensed a significant amount of research into a palatable guide. The book sets out to shock and disarm us with the horrendous state of inequality, but Risseeuw does not merely point out the problem. He offers carefully researched solutions. Progressive taxation, would reduce the income gap by alleviating the relative tax burden on the poor. Equity in education would level the playing field and give all students stronger skills for a better financial future. Risseeuw shows us the way. It is up to us to rise to action and force change at state, local, and federal levels. Art Hazelwood defines himself as an artist, instigator, and impresario, roles that weave together in his politically and socially motivated practice. His printmaking extends from fine art to street poster campaigns and grassroots organizing, including live screen printing at protests. Compiling ideas Hazelwood first developed as political posters, Tipping Point is a scathing narrative about the scale and connectedness of income inequality, xenophobia, and the environmental crises of our current moment. The images throughout the book are dark and dense. His style feels fresh, while directly connected to the history of political printmaking and European art history. He sometimes even makes references to canonical works about the powerful preying on the weak, like in this image, which draws directly from Peter Bruegel the Elder's Big Fish Eat Little Fish. Moving further into the book, we are spectators of horrific scenes. Oversized hands plundering from above, and money-bag-headed suits destroying, appropriating, and celebrating their eradication of justice, equality, and liberty. The texts running below the images are drawn from a variety of sources, from the Book of Isaiah to Frederick Douglass to Bob Dylan. Hazelwood created his images and then paired them with the texts to aid the narrative flow without overtly telling a specific story. The power of the money-bag-headed suits crescendos. The eye of providence, familiar to us from the Great Seal of the United States and the back of the $1 bill, is a gluttonous monster. We are at a tipping point. The narrative is shifting. The people are fighting back. Hazelwood explained to me that his central concern while creating Tipping Point was the duality that political artists constantly face. Should he portray the negative aspects of a political situation, which run the risk of being disempowering? Or is it better to portray positive images, such as protesters, which run the risk of being trite? Taking advantage of the sequential book form, Hazelwood creates a narrative that moves from the extreme negative to the positive. As he told me, a better world is the hardest thing to visualize and the most crucial. The people have prevailed. They redistribute wealth and begin repairs for a more just, environmentally sound, and equitable future. At the end of the book, Hazelwood invites us to be active contributors to this better future. Designed with artist and bookbinder Asa Nakata, this guillotine gives us agency. Pull the tab and become the executioner of greed and injustice. This text is from a song called The Guillotine by Boots Riley and the Coup. We got the guillotine, you better run. I feel the fire of empowerment rising in my body. As Hazelwood explained to me, it is up to all of us to bring together the loose strands that make up the causes of the ongoing disaster and to envision together a way through it. You Can Help Yourself and Tipping Point both highlight the disastrous effects of income inequality and capitalist greed in the United States and around the globe. Both artists have impactfully used the book form to consolidate these messages and inspire us to take direct action toward an equitable, just, and sustainable future. you.